I think there's a difference between generational curses and generational obstacles. You feel a curse. You know when it's coming. But I believe that some people are, so for instance, how some people say, I'm living in my grandmother's prayers, right? You've heard that saying before, right? Yeah. And it's true because some people are. And it's because grandma was the chosen one. Grandma was the one who was chosen to break the curses, and now you're living off the benefits of those prayers. And I believe that within the Black culture, we need to begin, like, yeah, some people do have very awful upbringings because they're the chosen ones in their bloodline, right? But we also need to start highlighting those people who are living in that privilege. Because there's not just one Black story of obstacles. There are people who have parents who were born into privilege. You know, we don't have to pretend like there's one narrative, because at the end of the day, if we're going to break the collective curse on the culture, then we need people not to pretend like, and not saying you don't have obstacles, but we need for people to talk about, like, no, my mom and dad had it.
That's big in the hip hop industry too.
Yeah.
That other side that I ain't got it, that happened. Yeah.
People lie about that.
Nah,
they pretend.
Yeah. No, we went through that. We seen that in high school growing up.
Yeah, people pretend like they'll have a struggle story because they want the empathy vote. They want people to feel, but it's like, no, the culture needs for people to share. Like, look, I had issues in my family, but it wasn't as drastic as yours. But we had wealth. And because what I've realized, like in the business, a lot of my peers, they came up in love. I didn't come up in love. I came up in war. And I tell people, that's why I tell people straight up, like, I choose peace. Peace is a choice. And people that choose peace, it's because they know the other side very well. And trust me, you don't want them to get into that other side, especially if they are telling you, let them choose peace. Let them choose peace. Let them choose it. Let them choose it, please.
Yeah. TK. Jersey. I've been on the grind, man, all it took was patience. That money on my mind, man, all I see is hating. He jocking on the low, man, you know the kid is wavy. Like how you mad at me when you know you're fucking lazy. Should've changed.
Hey everybody, it's your girl here, Madison J, and welcome back to a very, very, very special episode of Health and Hip Hop. I'm your girl, Madison J, international media personality, and today, as you can see, I've taken over the mic. I've taken over the interview. And it's because I am here to anchor the stories and the narratives of your two hosts today, Rel and Tori. Yes. So just a little background, guys. Rel and Tori, how long have we been friends?
Forever.
Like 50 years in a day.
Yeah.
So I want to say that I am super proud of you guys. Health and hip hop. Let's dive right into this. How did you guys come up with this concept? What inspired this concept? And how did you get here?
I'll let ladies first.
Thank you. So me and Rel, this has been one of my best friends since like 6th grade. Ooh. So, you know, we've been through a lot of transitions together as homies. And so, yeah, through through both, through health and through hip hop, we've been on the scene on both. When it comes to just us kind of pretty much what y'all will see soon, how our health was and how it is now. And our love for hip hop, how it was then and how it is now. So we just decided to put it together because we feel what I feel. I want to speak for two people, but for me, I feel like hip hop has always been a tool for us to learn. And so we want to bring that feeling back. I learned a lot from hip hop, from Jadakiss to Pac to even Rakim. I used to have to look up words in the dictionary listening to KRS-One and Rakim. So I just want to do that for our generation.
And you know what I love about that? Because we talked a little bit about it behind the scenes, but this actually takes me back to my roots of when I began entertainment journalism in New York City, because I was with Hot 97 and I interviewed Fat Man Scoop not too long ago, and we were kind of like bonding over the essence of health and hip hop.
Wow.
And just to speak on a little bit of how important that is for our community, because it's missing.
Yes.
It's definitely missing, and it's a tool that anchors so much success as far as like health, no matter what lane you're in. And when it, like you said, with hip hop, that has been an anchor that our community listens to.
Absolutely.
We Google words from it. We do this. So if we incorporate and embed the two, then we can mold the minds of the next generation.
Absolutely.
And, you know, them seeing the importance of health by using the articulation of hip hop, which is already such a common thing within the Black community, right?
Absolutely.
So, Rel, let's talk a little bit about your story. How did you get here? And what is the inspiration that health and hip hop has had for you?
So I start with hip hop. So my father, I learned that he used to DJ a little bit. So one of my godmothers, the one of many, she was a DJ. So I remember just being about 5 years old and just always seeing her with like the headphones and just mixing with the records and everything. So when I saw that, it's like, yo, what? I'm a curious child already. So just seeing her, I want to play too. I want to, you know. So that's why I like the movie Juice, outside of Tupac being my favorite rapper to go. You know, outside of him being my favorite rapper, that movie right there really inspired me to want to get into music. So, you know, that's on the hip hop side. On the health side, it just seeing my reality, you know, just seeing family members, seeing our communities, understanding what's going on in our genre of music. So just seeing both of them, it just inspired me to want to actually do better.
Right.
We'll get into the do better a little later.
Yeah, let's talk. I want to dive into that. I like the word "do better" because let's merge a little bit of my lane into all of this, which is spirituality, right? And spirituality is that thread that connects everything in life. Like everything is spiritual. Like Tori over here, seeing her with her pyrite on, her evil eye protections, her crystals. I'm so proud of you. And Rel, you have the same essence and the energy with you as well. So let's talk a little bit about that, because within that thread, the merging of the two, hip hop and health, there's this line of spirituality, which is wellness of the soul. So how have you guys incorporated that into the articulation and the art of what you guys are doing here with health and hip hop?
Shoot, that's a great question.
Thank you.
I know for me, I see that a lot of the times within our community, especially when it comes to hip hop, a lot of that is entertainment. And for some of us, the reason why we're nice and rapping and some of our talents that we're actually nurturing and maturing and elevating comes from a lot of the things that we go through.
Right.
And what I see in hip hop a lot is when someone who is actually really rapping or making music about the things that they really do, and that's really them, they have a issue sometimes with, obviously, I think that was Pac too, especially when you use your name as your performance, as within your performance. I see that a lot of times we have a trouble balancing out those two people, like me and like who I want the world to see, who I'm becoming. How do I transition myself naturally? How do I transition over my following with who I am now? And a lot of times you see these child stars and you're like, oh, like for instance, I love Bow Wow, man. Like if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even think that I could even rap. And they play him out or try to play him out like, yo, he corny. And it's like, no, you bugging. He always is dope. He's dope. But what it is you just never seen that behind the scenes. And you never seen him change. You just see who he is, and you built a persona. And now you got to think of how it was then. Also with social media, now you actually have to show your personality. How do you not show so much? How do you not show too little?
Right.
The balance. And so for me, health and hip hop is to help our communities know how to balance that, which is really just making sure that you're taking care of your soul, your temple, your body, your mind, and sticking to that, and everything is fine. But a lot of times when we have goals set and we have money we're trying to reach and we have elevation we're trying to push for, and then we have those negative thoughts about I should have did this, I should have did that, but I didn't, and then meshed with trying to move forward, trying to forgive, trying to let go, and then also being Black in our communities and having to thrive through those pressures and those tactics that are used against us. We don't have to go into detail right now about that, but we all know. And so spirituality is needed within us, and I think that it's lacking. We always talk about the mind and the body. We even talk about masculine and feminine, but nobody talks about balance either. Right. Women is always feminine and men is masculine, but we have both energies.
Right.
And so health and hip hop, that is literally what that is. It is literally spirituality. It's the body, the mind, the spirit in one, but we're putting it in the form of health and hip hop. So that's what that does for me. And I hope I answered that question in the way you were asking.
Yeah, because it brings along the familiarness of hip hop, right? Like that's already an anchor that we our community, the Black community, you know, we look to.
Absolutely.
We're like, this already has that. So using that as the anchor.
Absolutely.
And saying, okay, let's put this twist on it. Because what people fail to realize is, you know, once you have that soul in alignment, you're able to attract, like you said, we're running after the money, we're running after the forgiveness, we're running after this, we're running after that.
Right.
But within knowing that soul, you learn peace, and within knowing that peace, you learn that you are where you're meant to be. And also, like, putting the healing foods, the crystal psychology, the different, you know, the Reiki, the meditation, those things put you in alignment
Absolutely.
to attract money,
Absolutely.
to attract abundance,
Absolutely.
to attract opportunities.
Taking care of yourself.
Taking care of
Period.
yourselves brings you money.
Yes.
Like, can we
Yes.
stop for like 10
We need a shirt. We need a
minutes?
t-shirt.
Hello.
We need a t-shirt.
Hello. Taking care of
Yes,
yourself
we need
because
a
you are now
t-shirt.
in alignment. And it's not, because here's another thing. All money isn't good money.
Absolutely.
So what it does, when you take care of yourself and you are intentionally putting herbs and you're intentionally putting foods that attract money and oils into your body that attract those things,
Absolutely.
you attract the right money, not just money, but good money that will sustain. And that is what I like to teach a lot of entrepreneurs. And they think it's just meditating, or how one of the producers said, I ain't slowing down. No, you have to rest, because yes, that was a shot fire. I can't help it. But you have to rest. That's very important. So Rel, how has resting played a part of your success and you attracting the things that are for you in this lifetime?
All of it. I know when I'm not resting, then I'm off. You know, I'm not thinking sharp. I may get a little attitude faster than I normally would. For myself, I love being patient. So when it comes to having patience and everything,
love being
it's
patient.
like I must get the rest, because if I don't, then I'm not going to have the fuel that I need. So it's like one of the analogies I like to use is like with our bodies, with our temples, when people try to say, well, I don't want to eat right. Well, if you are a Lamborghini and you know a Lamborghini is going to only be able to take a certain grade of gas.
Right.
So it's not going to take that 87. It's not going to take that 89. It's going to take that 93. So if I'm a Lamborghini, then I need to put premium fuel in my body.
And what happens when you don't?
When I don't, then my joint, I'm all over the place. It's just like a car.
Yep.
If you put regular gas in a car that only supposed to get premium, the engine going to start knocking or something. So no, I need to be on point. So with me, I like being on point. So I need to get that rest. So if I'm not getting that rest, then I'm setting myself up for a day that could possibly, turn out in the way I don't want.
I'm sorry, I'm so proud of them. Yeah. I'm so proud of them. I'm having a friend moment. Oh, okay. Bring it back. Do you guys hear them? Do you hear what I'm hearing? How could your heart not be warm? Because my heart feels all fuzzy on the inside. Okay, Madison, bring it back. Okay, so I'm going to ask her. Tupac is my safe word. So Tupac.
This is the perfect show for that safe word.
Tupac is in the house. So I'm going to ask you, since this is a hip hop show, who is your, I'ma twist it. Who is your favorite hip hop artist, and what genre of hip hop is your favorite genre? Boom! I had to get you on your toes there.
So, my favorite of all time will always be Tupac Shakur. Always. And I say why. I know a lot of people like to compare the flows and everything with like Tupac and Biggie, or Biggie had the best flow. I won't not admit that, like Biggie did have a great flow. But when you come to Tupac, and one of the gentlemen said it on our previous episode, Real Conversations with Real Men, is that he was able to say a lot of things in a simple form. So it impacts you in a different way.
Right.
So when we talking about hip hop, and we know hip hop is a part of what you actually live through, then you gotta incorporate that. So hip hop community, we go through a lot of different things, and a lot of people love it because it talks about real stuff. So when we coming up in different places, and Brenda's got a baby, because and I just learned this about Pac from Omar Epps. He was talking about how that actually came about when they was on the set of Juice. That, that they was walking by, and, they wound up seeing it, or it was something, going on. So he just took that experience, put that together while they was on the movie set of Juice. So it comes from who we are. So if we talk about spirituality and stuff, is that energy, spirituality or spirit is just energy,
Right.
So I want the raw purest energy because that's where we come from. When we in school, we don't want to have a fake teacher. We want to have that teacher that's gonna be real with us.
Facts though.
So
that's a fact.
If that's what it's gonna be, then I need to be able to gravitate towards somebody that's in a pure form. So for me, that's Pac. And you have a lot of people that say even 25 years later how monumental, he was when just his music and what have you. So that's my guy all the way. Ain't nobody that's ever going to top that. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I love you.
Tupac is back.
Tupac in Cuba. Mind you, get those t-shirts on MadisonJ.com.
Yes, you do got Tupac in Cuba. But the thing about that shirt though, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, nah, you out there.
Oh, nah, I was just saying.
They're so polite to each other.
She just been saying Tupac is in Cuba forever. And it's funny that it's actually a shirt now. It's been the shirt for years, but she been saying it for years before it's been the shirt. Like, she'll come in the room like, Tupac's in Cuba. I'm like, yo, here you go, Matt. Hey, she here. That was no hi. Tupac's in Cuba, y'all. Oh, what up, Madison? You made it? That was her intro.
Yeah,
so I just want to let y'all know.
If you know, you know. If
when
you
she
know,
says
you know.
Impact, she's talking about, Tupac, but Impact.
I'm the protege of Tupac. That's one of my personas. They like Impact because Impact's ratchet a little bit, but she's still spiritual. But she the spiritual that, like, she will tell you real quick, like, spirituality is and peace is a choice. So allow me to choose it, because if you gotta tap into that other side, which is the shadow side, that's still spiritual too. And I'ma just go meditate after something crazy happens.
We talked about that in the Pilar interview. We didn't go into detail. We was like, you fire, you water, but you'll take it there too.
Yeah, I know. Peace is a choice.
Water can
water. No,
let's
not pretend like water is not the scariest place. The ocean is the scariest place on earth, and it's also the most unknown. The ocean, there's a quote that I saw, and it said the ocean is pure enough to cleanse you, but it's also powerful enough to drown you.
Dope.
Definitely.
Tread lightly.
Because you could drown even just by drinking too much water.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. And it's the most unknown place on earth. It's the most least explored.
Right.
It's the scariest place on earth. There's also like this theory that that there's another galaxy that exists underneath the Earth's surface that I'm on research. I'm doing a thesis on it right now, so I'm not going to talk too much on it. I don't know too much about it, but like there's a portal to another galaxy that lays underneath in the ocean. So, but stay tuned for the thesis. Yeah. Like, look at y'all got me going off topic. Okay, so Tori, down to the genre for you. What's your favorite genre of hip hop, and who's your favorite hip hop artist?
Did you say your genre?
No, I was even trying to think. But I would say just that golden age era of hip hop. So I want to say from like 91 to like 96.
And what song pops into your head when you think of the genre?
Immediately?
Yeah.
93 and 2 by I forget the name of the group, but 93 and 2.
Hey.
Was it Sounds of Mischief or Souls of Mischief? I love that song. Then I love that beat, and I was only like 4. We was like 4 when that came out. 4. But I know that feeling, it's about that energy.
This is the cue for the producer to put in a little bit of that music so they could hear it and y'all could get that feeling too. Right on the audio so y'all could feel what he's talking about as we like get down a little bit to that music. Hey. This for the producer right here. Hey. We flexing with it.
Flexing too.
Hey. Tori, what's your favorite genre and your favorite artist?
Oh man.
I'm interested because you also love battle rap. I'm not trying to influence you, but I'm interested in seeing what you're going to say.
Yeah. So my favorite rapper, well, I have 2. I have to say 2 now, only because I'm older now, and I mean he don't really rap no more like that. But my first favorite rapper is 50.
Really?
Remember y'all was calling me 50? Remember my name was not Tori.
Wow.
My name was not Key. It's still 50 to this day. I could be driving 50. Like, you know what I mean? That's my name.
That was a throwback Thursday.
I had a handshake. I had my own 50 Cent handshake. I made it up. I made it up. Everybody like knew it. I used to do it. People thought it was a gang. I'm like, nah, that's 50 Cent. Like we'll be in Nook at the Bridgeport party, and then we go for the tea like that with somebody. They be like, first they thinking it's a gang until that part. They like, what's that? Be like, oh, I just like 50 Cent. They like, oh, okay. But yeah, 50 is my favorite rapper, my first favorite rapper. My second is Styles P, and I'm gonna talk about that and why.
Oh, I could see both. That's like a merge.
Yeah,
that's you.
It's too different.
Yeah, that's you. Like if 50 Cent, no, Like it's like if they merged, if they were like what am I like if they what's that show called? They morphed into one person.
Nah, so look, so let me tell y'all. So 50, right? To me, the reason why 50 Cent is my favorite rapper is because the speed and how he grew. Like 50 really didn't take long to be able to actually have a concert with Hove. Like they literally had the Rock the Mic tour. And he had a shoe too. Just when the S Carters came out, you had the G and the sneaker. And 50 was not out that long. He only had Get Rich or Die Trying album. That first album, well, he had Powder Dollar and the other albums and Guess Who's Back and stuff like that. But when he dropped that one, he shot up. And that, to me, that's why he was my favorite rapper, because he had a video game out, and he had the book, and he had the movie, and he had the sneakers.
Even now, if you think about it, like what he's doing with television is...
Absolutely.
50, I got my own opinions about him, but I do respect the hustle.
Absolutely. So for me, it was like, it was just the speed, you know what I'm saying? And then not only was the speed, but the production of other artists that came out too from that. You know what I mean? And then the mixtape game was crazy. And then the way they was dropping music and the way they was dropping mixtapes and the timing and just the consistency, you know, that was what I really loved the most of it. And then now when I look back at it, for me now at this point in my age, 50 was always with the health. And I think that also was what gave him that organic energy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but vitamin water, right? Wasn't he with, okay.
Though, you know, we ain't gonna go into
Right. But I'm just saying, like,
but yeah.
But it was definitely a pioneering form to kind of like Naked, right? The drink, Naked. It was one of those things that made people look into it. And then you found out, like, okay, it's not healthy, but it made people like, it subconsciously was the beginning of that hip-hop wellness aspect of it, even though we know, but it opened up the gates a little bit more.
Nah, it did.
Yeah.
He worked out a lot.
Yeah.
Nah, he did.
In the club.
You know
what I'm saying?
And even then, he wasn't smoking and drinking. He don't really partake in that from what I've seen. I mean, I don't know him personally, but from what I've seen and what I've heard and what I know he wasn't doing that. So, anyways, and then Styles at this point, man, because that guy, man, shout out to Styles, shout out to Ajwa. I love those two. But for me, as far as the rap world, man, Styles P, like the way that he's actually like really bringing in the same thing as far as health and hip hop, like organically, and he's really doing that. Even with him, Jadakiss, like the.
And shout out to his wife too.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Ajwa, to me, like. Now he's dropping albums and producing, even with the juice bars and stuff. I just admire that. So I'm just watching him, you know, and I see his change as far as just, even he says it all the time from what I'm saying, like, I ain't gonna pop off on you, but you know, Gangsta and the Gentleman. So that's
just don't bring the fire to my doorstep because I'm gonna put it out. It's that simple.
Absolutely. So it's the realness for me. It's the realness. And I feel like he's genuinely himself, and that's how I want to be. Like, I just caught myself behind the Accord, you know what I mean? I ain't want no payments. Not that I can't afford a payments or nothing like that, but I'm me. I don't want to be chasing nothing. You going to get this raw, authentic. I'm going to elevate naturally me. I don't want to have to chase nothing outside of I'm trying to project something that I'm not. And so for me, I feel like Styles is him. And that's why, to me, the Locks have been getting their flowers, because they've literally just been them. And that's one of the first hip-hop groups, to me, that they didn't have to do all that flashy jewelry. They didn't have to sell you nonsense. They got on selling truth and lessons.
You want to know, what there was something, and it's interesting that you brought them up, because it made me realize, like, there's a lot of, like, finding out, like, who you are, like, beyond. I don't like the phrase when people say things like, there's nothing new under the sun. Like, yeah, there are tools, but even when you think of like snowflakes, just to be corny, but if you think about snowflakes, there's no two snowflakes that are the same. So I think it's a little insulting to think that God would stroke his paintbrush identically in two humans, you know? So we all have our unique foundations and our purpose, and you know, but there's a lot of copy and paste, especially in this digital age that we are coming into. And it's like, no, walk into your journey. Like, you can be there's a difference between inspiration versus duplication. And what I've realized is, like, it takes a bit of a while when we talk about the Locks, who have literally, they've been at being themselves and pioneering this lane, even when it was uncool for so long.
And it still got respect.
But what I've realized is, once it takes longer to get there, it takes like people still in the flow. It takes other people getting recognitions. But when you finally get that respect and everybody looking at you and you pop, like, now as of that last verses, Jadakiss gonna go down as top 5, undebatable.
Absolutely.
Undebatable.
Absolutely.
No one's ever gonna debate that.
Absolutely.
And if you debate it, people gonna look at you like, are you stupid? Excuse my French. Are
that
you?
was always a talk,
absolutely.
though, since we've been in high school, though.
Right, but that was
That
like the
solidifies
whispers. But that I'm talking about like mainstream.
Right.
Like that's I think where we were talking about it in high school and things like we knew about Jada, right? But that was still like kind of like under the surface. But I'm talking about in a big mainstream, like other people, like even other races, like the way that hit at that versus battle was
it's different. It's different.
It was a different level, and they deserved it.
Right.
And they deserved
Absolutely. And to piggyback, there was one time, and I hope I don't never want to seem like I'm over talking because I'm real with it. But I just got to share this experience because there was an experience for me that was like ill, like with Jadakiss. And there was a personal time for me, right, that I was going through a phase of like, battling between like the persona and how I look on Instagram and how I look towards the people and trying to find that balance of really pushing me, you know, as a business and understanding how to do that. But long story short, it took me to do the test on myself to not care about what nobody think. I said, you know what, I'm gonna go work somewhere that I don't care about. Like that's low end that I'm gonna be happy and smile and do. And so I went and got this job at this chicken shack. I swear on everything. I only worked there 24 hours, right? This is crazy, right? So I go to the chicken shack. I'm vegan, right?
You should have brought a video and recorded the vegan works at the chicken shack.
So I go to the chicken shack. It's no disrespect to any cultures, but it's these, I don't know what particular heritage in the Asian culture that they were, but they were Asian. They could barely speak English. They had a teenager working there that translated for me. And they told me I would only get paid once a month. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing this no more. And because I really needed it because I didn't know how to balance entrepreneur income. I was only taught how to balance a steady income. So as it coming in, like in wise and in small wise, I didn't know how to do that. And I needed a steady income just to learn. So I was looking for something that would just give me something while I build the fitness business. But just trying to be embarrassed about going somewhere, like it can hold you. So I was trying to kill that vibe. So I was like, you know what, to kill that energy, we're gonna go work somewhere that would be considered low level and not care and build it from there. So when I went to that place, I'm saying this to say as the point to bring it back to Jadakiss, but I went there and when I pulled up, I cried because I'm like, damn, this is really a testimonial for God to see like how humble you could be. Like you really know that you about to go here and you perform and you putting on these things on your page and you have over 10,000 followers, but you still are like, yo, nah, like this means nothing. Like I'm only here to serve my purpose. Like I'm here to serve my purpose. I'm not here to feel embarrassed. I'm not here. And I pulled up with a smile on my face and I was crying in the car like, yo, I can't even believe I had the strength to even know that how to break an energy of caring about what people think and feeling like this is low. This is not low. This is not low at all.
That's important. I'm happy you just brought that up. That there's a something you said in that it's a tool.
Yeah. To
know how to kill the spirit of caring about what other people think.
Absolutely. It was a tool. That's what I needed. That's what I did it for. And I'm going to tell you the blessing from that, right? So it was a Friday, right? Or a Thursday or something I went there. And the whole day I'm smiling. I'm serving people. Now at the same time I'm smelling chicken and it's like, I'm like, damn, because I don't eat that stuff. So it's coming in my nose. There's no way in the world I was going to be able to work there. It wasn't for that. But I was just like, and I'm seeing the people coming in looking sick and I'm like, yo, this was to show me so many things. I'm like, damn, I can't wait to put this show here. I'm not judging nobody. I'm serving them. But in the back of my mind, I'm praying for them like, yo, I just want them to change their diet. You know what I mean? All these different things. The whole day, I never ran into nobody I knew. So now, matter of fact, they told me I have to leave early. I'm like, no, I'm still gonna be here. Like, you know what I mean? Long story short, the last minute, somebody came there that I knew. The minute I was supposed to leave at 7:01, I'm turning around. I'm like, dang, but I'm like, yo, this guy is too funny. Like, yo, you too funny. So then that happened. The next day, Adjoa, Styles P wife, I just love that lady. She's so dope. She had invited me to Dave East and Styles P release party, and the next day, and to me that was my blessing because when I went in there, I had a ball, and I read C's, Lil C's came, and that's my peoples. We always work out.
Hey,
Shout out to C's, hey C's,
love you.
And long story short, I said long story short 3 times, but so I'm in there, we chilling, we just chilling, vibing, and Adjoa introduced me to a few women in there, and we was discussing what we did in the room. I be watching a fight. And I'm telling them like, yeah, you know, I help artists become healthier. And this wasn't even really going down yet. This is what I was already projecting in my mind, which is the show right now.
Wow.
So I'm like, I teach health and hip hop. I'll teach hip hop artists how to remain healthy while they travel, how to remain healthy while they elevate in their career. Now Jadakiss is sitting right there, but I'm not talking to him because I don't, people are people to me. You know what I mean? So I don't know him. I just was talking to the ladies. And then they said what they did. And now Little C's comes and then talks to me, and then now it's just us three. And C's is like, yo, she really loved hip hop. Yo, she do the workout stuff crazy. And then Jadakiss was like, yeah, I heard. He ran everything down that I said. Now I know he a street cat, so duh. But it was that day, the day before, I was like, damn, yo, I went from Chicken Shack to one of my favorite, most illest spitters telling me, yo, your idea is fire, yo. And I was just like, damn. That blessing to me, and I have to say that because that was a clear sign of that I have to do this show. Literally in 2 days in a 48-hour span. And just because I said I gotta kill this energy, and I went all the way head throttle in the most embarrassing, most uncomfortable smelling chicken way that I could have. And got the next day, Jadakiss telling me my idea was ill. That's all I needed, yo. That from now I'm still off that high.
The humility and the spirit of discernment.
Absolutely.
Those two are very important. Like
thank you, Jada.
Thank you, Jada. Thank you. We're sure you're watching. The whole crew. Shout out to all of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talking about manifesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
We see y'all watching. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but those two things are very important in your craft, you know, when it comes to hip hop and health. That spirit of discernment.
Absolutely.
And also, you know, being humble. And those are two success rituals that all successful people, especially in hip hop, you know, they practice that giving back aspect. That I tell people all the time, I've worked with some of the most powerful people in the world, and they are the nicest people in the world, but they have very strong boundaries. Yes. They don't let too many people in because they run off energy. It's energy. Nobody wants to be around you if they feel like you just around them, because like people can feel energy. Like people want to be around you if you treat them like a person, if you treat them nice. And that's where you guys come in, and that's why the show is going to be so successful, because of your spirits. It's not necessarily even the talent, which you both have so much of. It's the quality of your soul. And God tends to elevate the higher source. I want to make sure I'm respecting our religions. The higher source elevates those who are pure before he elevates anyone else. So I'm speaking that over your life. And with that being said, what is next? I want to give these last few minutes to manifesting. So I want you to tell me what's next, but I want you to say, I am manifesting, and then finish it with that, with some powerful energy on it.
Yeah. Also, too, if we possibly could, because I want to know, like, your journey. We always wanted to get you on the show. So I definitely, before we even do that, too, I definitely want to talk about, like, our transitioning points. Because, you know, for us, we don't want to seem like, you know, we was just this person, like, who we are. So, and same thing with you. Like, you are not who you were. So if we could touch on that, too, I would love to, if you feel comfortable giving us that topic. I'm not sure if you do.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, it's you guys, so I don't mind. It's just always funny when it's like I'm in Madison J mode, and then it's like, now it's time to go to the other side of the microphone.
Yeah, we need some information.
Tori was actually, 2017, we were doing like not because they weren't little, but the series that we were doing with working out and stuff. So we've been doing this together for a minute, but even then we were both like already really established in our own separate entities. And we've known each other since high school. So you guys knew me before the bday. And it's God and that discipline and just staying focused. And you guys know my story. Like, you know, we came from absolutely nothing to now, even when people are writing flyers and they're like, the world-renowned Madison J, I sit back and I'm like, that sounds crazy. Yeah. That sounds so crazy. But then it's just like, well, Madison, you've taught in almost 40 countries. You know, you've interviewed some of the, like, and it's just like you said, it's that testimony, you know? And for me, it's kind of like how you shared the story of the Chicken Shack. Or I could sit here and say, I've been on 20 magazine covers. I've been featured on this. I have this and I have that. But then it's just like, it takes you back to that humble beginnings of when I was eating at soup kitchens as a kid, you know? And it's just like sharing that part of the story is just as important, if not more, because it's like you see these fancy things, you see all of this, but understand, like, there was a lot of alchemy You know, when I talk to people about 2016, when I tried to commit suicide after my aunt transitioned, you know, and then waking up and I was not even the same being. And I just had these gifts that were just so enhanced. And just that healing journey of losing people, or like how we were talking about walking away from an 8-year relationship with somebody that you lived with. How does that work? And it's just like we all have stories, right? That's what Biggie did. That's what Tupac did. They took stories, they took unique stories and they turned them into art. And they weren't necessarily always good stories, but they always had a good outcome because they became art. And when I learned that art was medicine, it was therapy. I became very protective over my identity because it was like, do you know what I've been through to become me? And it's like, it's not saying not to be inspired by me, but it's saying, one, art always duplicates life. And one thing about the karmas of the universe, you can't sit there, especially in this age that we're in, this social media age, and try to duplicate someone's goods most times, because art imitates life and you don't want God to start swifting in the karma of what they've been through into your reality, because you don't want to stop trying to be them. So what I had learned was I'll try to give people that warning, like, no, let me help you find you. Like, there's tools, yes, but that let me help you find you. I'm good at that. And that's what inspired me to do my academy, because I'm good at marketing. You know, that's how I started with Hot and BLS. And so I'm good at spirituality. I'm good at helping people heal. And these are all things that I learned because I had to do it for myself, because no one believed in me. No one believed in me. So many people say, oh, Madison, you're international. And I'm like, I'm only international because I was ostracized from my own community. And do you know how many times I sat in meetings overly qualified and literally will tell me, Madison, it's because I don't look black enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. And it's the truth. It's happened. It's happened multiple times. There's so many diverse curses that are on our culture.
Wow.
And we don't discuss it because we're too busy trying to, your pain is less than mine. And we're not listening to one another because we're trying to impress people outside of our race. And not realizing that just because the pain has been diverse doesn't mean that the pain doesn't equally hurt. And I think with the rejection of everything I've been through, it's come to me where I'm like, I'm actually really grateful for it, because I have the love, I have the respect. And it's not everybody in Black media, of course not, because that would be a lie. There have been people that have helped me and I love them and I give them their flowers. But there has been a lot of people who have done some really and said some really awful things. But that's also what makes me cherish the people who have helped me and who have believed in me. And that's the alchemy of it, because I wouldn't be so strongly in my value and my principle system of helping other people and listening to their stories if I didn't feel rejected. I became international because no one would hire me within the States. Wow. And the only time I would get booked would be overseas or out of the country. And it would be like that for so long. But then I also realized spirituality in New York, it was the last place to hit. It really didn't hit till the pandemic.
Yeah, this really not, you right. We've been tapping it for a while, but now that I'm actually thinking about it, people are actually really okay with saying they're getting mental help or
now,
they're getting therapy.
Since the pandemic.
Before they weren't, it wasn't.
Especially the New York market, it wasn't trendy. But I became grateful for that because it made me understand that we are all one, and it made me help my people in places that I would have never thought that I could reach. You know, and it's God. And we all need our stories. We all need to tell our stories and our narratives. And another thing too, wow, I think it's very important. I don't think that everybody's breaking generational curses. I don't think everyone's breaking. I think there's a difference between generational curses and generational obstacles. You feel a curse. You know when it's coming. But I believe that some people are, so for instance, how some people say, I'm living in my grandmother's prayers, right? You've heard that saying before, right? Yeah. And it's true, because some people are. And it's because grandma was the chosen one. Grandma was the one who was chosen to break the curses, and now you're living off the benefits of those prayers. And I believe that within the Black culture, we need to begin, like, yeah, some people do have very awful upbringings because they're the chosen ones in their bloodline, right? But we also need to start highlighting those people who are living in that privilege. because there's not just one black story of obstacles. There are people who have parents who were born into privilege. You know, we don't have to pretend like there's one narrative, because at the end of the day, if we're going to break the collective curse on the culture, then we need people not to pretend like. And not saying you don't have obstacles, but we need for people to talk about, like, no, my mom and dad had it.
That's big in the hip hop industry too.
Yeah.
That other side that I ain't got it, that happened. Yeah.
People lie about that.
Nah,
they pretend.
No, we went through that. We seen that in high school growing up.
Yeah, people pretend like they'll have a struggle story because they want the empathy vote. They want people to feel, but it's like, no, the culture needs for people to share. Like, look, I had issues in my family, but it wasn't as drastic as yours. But we had wealth, because what I've realized, like in the business, a lot of my peers, they came up in love. I didn't come up in love. I came up in war. And I tell people, that's why I tell people straight up, like, I choose peace. Peace is a choice. And people that choose peace, it's because they know the other side very well. And trust me, you don't want them to get into that other side, especially if they are telling you, let them choose peace. Let them choose peace. Let them choose it. Let them choose it, please, because I ain't the enemy you want. Because if you corner me and I gotta protect myself, I'm gonna protect myself. And at the end of the day,
that's how you was trained. That was just.
And at the end, that's also in the Bible. If we're gonna take it back to my religion, God puts armor. Look at David and Goliath. God will arm His people too. So we ain't gonna pretend like war not in the Bible. But let me choose this peace. I'm gonna go over here and eat my carrots and my vegetables and meditate. Don't come over here snatching my carrot out my hand and my tea because I'm happy. You try to take my tea, we gonna have a problem. And that's just what it is. Don't touch my tea. Do not touch my tea. But what I'm saying is, in the black community, we do, like, yes, we need all stories.
Absolutely.
We need to stop pretending. And there are some hip hop artists that pretend like they came up struggling.
Absolutely.
It's like, nah, let's let that go. Everybody's not breaking curses.
Absolutely.
And the curse that's on the culture is everybody feeling like they. And then it's weird because people who came up in privilege, they'll be mad at people who came up in struggle but overcame it. And it's because they feel like they have the empathy vote. And it's like, no, we need all of these stories. That's the way we break it. Because there's black people out here who are successful, who have kids who are successful, who position them. And we need to highlight that too. It's positioning our community instead of crabs in a barrel.
Absolutely.
But if we all pretending like there's a struggle story, one, it takes away from the people who really do have the struggle story and need a little bit more help.
Absolutely.
But no, like, highlight the fact that you were born in black love. You were born in black excellence. We need those stories. Stop pretending. We need it all. And that's why highlighting us is important, not just one aspect of us. Like my best friend Dominique, she grew up in wealth, and she would be told, like, grew up like Bel Air, Prince of Bel Air type of style. She would be told that she was not black enough because she grew up in wealth. But she's a beautiful dark-skinned woman, and she's like, because I grew up and I talk proper grammar, you know, I'm not black enough. And then I was like, that's crazy, because the flip side, you know, I'm Latina and black. And I barely knew my Latina side growing up. So I grew up as like a black woman, but I was told I was not black enough because I'm light skinned. So it's weird that our culture, we do this thing to one another where it's like, no matter how you look, everybody being told they're not black enough in some form. So what is black enough? We're all black enough. We're all whole. We're all one. We all deserve support. We all need one another because we all hold a piece of the puzzle as a collective.
Absolutely.
So we have to stop pointing those fingers at one another and embrace one another with love and stop caring so much about what other races think about us.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to end it there because that went off.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I agree. For me, my transition occurred several times, but my main one that actually made me really like do what I need to do and really buckle down into the things that I didn't agree with within myself was when my dad passed away. And
I remember that.
Yeah, so for me, a lot of the things my dad was already putting me on to, like veganism and or eating better, and he was already I seen my father go through a tremendous amount of religions and things of that nature trying to find himself. And so for me, it was always different books in the house and him teaching me different things and really like learning. He was the first person that taught me, like, you know, you don't need to put this type of deodorant. You don't need aluminum in your deodorant. You don't need no perm in your hair. You know, you shouldn't be, your menstrual cycle shouldn't be that heavy. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he was crazy because I'm like, this is coming from a man. It wasn't coming from my mom. You know, shout out to my mom. And it was coming from my dad. And so they lived, we lived together, but I wasn't able to hear it because it wasn't coming from both sides. And even when my love for 50 Cent, my father could not stand it. He could, like when I would go in the house saying, many men wish death upon me, he'd be like, Kanisha, shut up. Like, don't know many men wish death upon him. I'm like, what? Like, I didn't understand it at the time frame. And what he's basically saying is it's entertainment. Like, don't get so caught up in it where you're so infatuated with somebody that you don't know is pretty much what he was basically saying.
You're also kind of manifesting it.
Absolutely. And so when he died, I was like, you know what? We had because my father, he couldn't really keep a job because of his record and some of the things that he's been through. And so for me, like, I kind of resented him for that. So we went through a phase of him living with me, but I actually wasn't talking to my dad for a while because I thought I didn't understand why he couldn't keep a job. I just was looking at it like, and you're listening to songs about your father not being there, which I didn't realize that I'm picking up what I feel because of the things that I'm listening to. But I'm young enough to not to be mature enough to understand like this is entertainment and that doesn't have anything to do with this situation. And and
also it's a hypnosis with music, with hip hop music. That's why like when we think of choruses, it's repetitive 3 times in rotation. That's why gifts are so trendy right now. It's because they rotate like the 3, like they move like this.
Yeah.
And it's because you're putting your mind under subconscious hypnosis. Wow. Choruses are hypnosis. Wow. And Kanye even went off on it about this a little bit, but there's different frequencies.
I could definitely believe that, especially a lot of, well, actually I heard that too now that I'm actually thinking about it. But for me, like, when we went through that transition, I want to say around 13 because my mom had breast cancer. So my mom had breast cancer and my father was actually trying to tell her like how she could like naturally do it. But my mother wants to listen to the person in the white coat, not because she doesn't trust my father. It's just that's what's been conditioned to you. So you're trying to battle a condition versus a man that you think that, not keeping the job. But the thing about my dad not keeping the job was he cooked all the food, he cleaned. So I didn't have a gender role type of, gender roles don't even exist.
Do you see why I said all stories are important? Do you see? This is
like
important.
My father cooked better than my mother and cleaned better than my mother. Not saying that my mother couldn't cook or clean, but my mother was another hustler than my father. Not because of, it's just the circumstance, it had to switch. So when I resented him for a while, but then as I got older, I started to understand what was going on. And 2 weeks before he died, I swear we had like a heart-to-heart conversation where I let everything out about like, I don't feel that way. And I see now, and all these different things. The only thing was my father didn't know how to get his own money. So that was the only thing, but he knew what he needed to do. He just didn't know how to get money. So for me, I was like, you know what? When he passed away, I was like thankful that we had that conversation because I don't know how I would feel if he had left and we didn't have that conversation. But when he left, I didn't even feel, it took a while for me to, when I first heard he passed away, he had a heart attack, I didn't even register that he had a heart, I was just like, yo, I'm so happy I said what I said. That was the first thing I'm saying instantly when I said, thank you, I said what I said. I didn't even feel, I felt pain, but not like that. You didn't have to live
with that regret.
Nah, and so right after I said, when I finish mourning and when I get over this, I'm changing. And that's why, and I said, I'm gonna be who I'm supposed to be. And then all the stuff that he was telling me and all the stuff, I said, I gotta do that and help other women. And that's why I have this, and this is why.
And you're carrying his legacy with that.
Absolutely.
And I wanna, this is why, and it's so interesting how like what I said completely just before even knowing that, like bounced into your story about the importance of all stories within the Black community.
Absolutely.
I wanna dabble just a tad bit into that, because we mentioned it a little bit earlier about the feminine and masculine energy. Because y'all know that be making me tight online, because I be going off. So we have both of these energies living within us. So when
both sexes. Both sexes are feminine and masculine.
Divine feminine and masculine are not a sex. They are energy based.
No, yeah, but I'm saying for the human body.
Right, for the human body, what we tend to do is put female, feminine, masculine, male.
That's it.
And that's so wrong. And in the yin-yang philosophy, that's what they teach us. The light and the dark, the sun and the moon. That's why the sun and the moon exist. They are the balance of the alchemy of life, the shadow and the light, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So both of those energies, and you sharing your story, it shows us the diversity of the roles, not necessarily due to the sex, but due to the energy frequency in the household that you came up with.
Absolutely.
Do you see how it wasn't a black struggle story? Do you see how that excellence was just reflected? Do you see how God just gave us an example of what I was saying?
Yes, that's why I have been piggyback on that.
And I love that because it taught you that balance, right? It taught you that. Isn't it interesting that it's always one thing? I don't believe in the word deaf, but we'll get into that in a second. But I'm going to use deaf in this tone just to kind of connect with what you just said. There's no such thing as deaf, right? But it always takes someone transitioning a near-death experience to take you on that spiritual journey.
Because that's where my transformation began. My great aunt, she passed away in 2009, April 1st, 2009. So with seeing that was the first time that I've ever seen anyone go from me seeing you and then it just flatlined. Like I'm like, oh, like that was the first. So just, seeing that and having that experience is like, oh, no way. We definitely not about to keep doing this.
Right.
Because I don't know how y'all older than me and y'all kept experiencing that. And y'all
experiencing what?
Transition, death.
Okay.
Transitions.
Got it.
Like, that was my first time ever seeing anyone pass, or someone like that close to me, passing away. Other than that, I've never experienced it prior to that. And she had cancer. And to my knowledge, never smoked. So it's like, okay, I ain't seen that happen. This is a loved one that we grew up with. So we not doing that no more. So with that, fast forward to I want to say 2011 was another transitional point too. But the death of my great aunt passing, I was the first. But from the first, I want to say about 3-4 months, like of March to like April, we was together just about every single day. Every day. So always just chopping it up. Always being able to just talk about just what we doing now. So that was good for me because it allowed me to be around somebody that thought like how I thought and wanted to come out of, what we grew up and just seeing. Not that it's always negative, but just wanting to advance, the gifts that we was given. Right. Because even like, with her pops having the books in the house and giving her, being able to break down, oh, you're not supposed to bleed like this. And those are jewels, that she received from her father, a female, a father, that
I didn't register because it was coming, because you think masculine energy, you're not even able to appreciate it yet.
You didn't even realize that what he gave you was more valuable than money.
Nah, absolutely. And he told me that in high school.
Yeah.
He
definitely
I was 15, 16 when he told me that.
And that's another thing. We have to the material hold that money has on our culture, right? There are things like someone pouring energy is the biggest currency. Someone with beautiful energy pouring into you will make you attract money. Like we were talking about earlier, we put like the money is actually invisible now.
Nah, that's a fact. That's a fact. It's crazy how they switch it. And you know what's crazy? That's why, like, for me and Rel, like, I feel like a lot of the things that we really sacrificed, like when it came to when we actually decided to stop, like, smoking and eating McDonald's, that's what we did all the time, smoking and eating McDonald's when we were younger. And I know for us, we were like, yo, I don't even know what actually made, well, I know when my father passed away and I'm thinking about it, but we went through a lot of the same transitions. So when we decided to like stop smoking, we wasn't really drinking and stuff like that, but just doing nonsense. We started to exercise and eat better. We would go to Pizza Hut all the time. We would go to all these different restaurants. But like, we really decided, for me, we worked at Toys R Us. He got me my first job.
So
yes. So he, when we decided to like not work, like to educate ourselves, because we were working I'll speak for me, like, once I learned how to like exercise and eat right, I like my naps and I like to take naps when I want to, exercise when I want to, read and learn. At the time frame, I was like, I can't go back to work. Like I couldn't work 40 hours. I'm like, this is not gonna save me. Like, it's not gonna save me. And I had to sit down with my mom and be like, look, Mom, look, I'm 21, but look, like, I gotta relearn how to eat, because we started touching on veganism. I'm like, dang, I don't eat no chicken. I'm like, how am I gonna learn how to cook and clean properly? Now I gotta learn how to read cook because all the stuff I learned how to cook is not right. And I'm like, okay, I gotta learn this, finances. I want to learn real estate. I want to learn this. I'm like, if I give somebody 40 hours, 60 hours, I'm like, how? Like, how am I? I'm like, so, nah. Like, and for me, like, Rel was the only person that was like down. And it was like family members saying like, yo, you need to work. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I started training. And that's how I was making my money. But I was like, no, like, but that was my other person that understood. And so
you need that.
Depending on, like, I was like, no, I'm gonna depend on God. Like, it wasn't that I wasn't being lazy. We was really learning. So the speed that I was picking up information because all we was doing was either exercising and learning.
And eating right.
Eating right.
That's that veganism.
And eating right. We were able to make the moves. And so that's how we was able to go to take your Aunt Rodiga to that studio session with Music Soul Child. Like, that's how I was able to meet Lil C's and go to the gym and go to the park because we had the free time. And I seen Kanye do it. He had $10 in his pocket. So when I see Kanye, and I'm like, man, that's the frequency we really depended on God. Like, we really was like, man, and it hurt because we knew we could work and we knew money would change. It was times where cars shut down, we was driving and we was in the car like, well, we happy, we still learned this, and it's gonna get fixed, and it always got fixed. And now my man's he a dean, what car you got now? Like, it's and same thing with me. I 10 times my income last year because that's when I was ready to actually change. And all the information we studied, we're laying it out. Meal prep company. I now have a staff. So the show is produced, you know what I mean? And it really came from us just being like, nah, we want time. Like, we want all our time. And I know it's scary. He quit one of the illest jobs at that time frame because it wasn't healthy. And that's what we was told to do. And so for me and
But you know what I've realized in that aspect, and I want to touch on that just a little bit. Faith is the ultimate currency.
Yes, it is.
That's a fact.
Faith is the ultimate. And it's like God will put you in the most comfortable, what looks like the most comfortable position just to see if you're going to trust him.
You have to, because that's a part of the transformation.
That's a part of the transformation.
When you don't go through that, you don't appreciate the wealth that come about. Just like how we was having a conversation as far as when somebody got some bread, you know, they started moving a little different because when you do that and you don't put that work in, she used to always say you can't skip the grind. So you can't skip the grind because
man.
It gives you that resilience. So when that overflow start coming, then you able to still be chill. You know, like, so everything that we have now and the things that people say about us, because we started not from the bottom, but we started from the bottom of our independence. You know what I'm saying? So
Hold on a second. Absolutely. Hold on. I'm having you know how Oprah always point out the moments?
The aha moment.
Whoa. We started at the bottom of our independence.
That's a fact, man.
Because when we was doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, chopping it up all the time, you would be going back and forth conversations. Yo, what you think about this? And while we would be apart, we have our experience as far as what we learned, and then we'll bring it back to the table. So it was like we was always coming back and forth with something. Oh, all right, so the book, The Richest Man in Babylon.
We was learning.
She was telling me about that book. I'm reading it. Yo, I ain't have any more notebook paper. I wrote the lessons down on a paper towel.
We wasn't wasting no time learning.
You know, so I needed to put that work in because I knew and I felt the urge on my spirit. Oh, God's calling. Yo, you got some stuff that you got to do. So I didn't grow up in like complete chaos, but you know, my pops was incarcerated majority of my life, so I had to learn from the other chess pieces on the board, which was, you know, my moms, my godmoms, my grandparents, you know, my aunts, my uncles, the environment, these books, these lessons, you know. So, and then, you know, I never forget when my aunt had asked me to come to Bible study. I went to Bible study. At first, I understand what was going on, but I just kept feeling led to come. I was there, you know, after a while, I started picking up stuff. And that's when stuff started. I got into college after that.
This guy used to be sleeping in Spanish class, y'all. He used to be knocked out in schools.
Gone, but graduated from Rutgers.
2.3. No, that's why it's so amazing to me. It's so amazing to me. I see him sleep, y'all, like this.
Gone. I used
to sit next to each other in Spanish class.
But when you start waking up and you start, you know, I fasted for the first time in 2012. I did the Daniels fast, 40 days. not eating certain things, like, you know, only being able to eat fruits, vegetables.
You know what I realized?
You know what I'm saying? Nuts.
Yeah.
That wake you up so much.
With you just saying that, I also, it had like a trigger moment in me, and it's just like, with veganism, your entire life is the Daniel fast to a degree. That's why you're able to manifest so quickly.
You can see so much clearer with your diet being on point and what you
was
eat.
able to get that favor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they bodies were stronger than the kings. From the ones who was coming at the table eating the royal food, they was more equipped and more sufficient, more wise than those guys. And they were supposed to be eating, like, just imagine you at a billionaire's house. A billionaire gonna be able to give you anything that's top notch. So the top notch food is not even helping you to be
top
this
notch.
Type of
Internally.
Top notch, yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you,
that's a fact.
I agree with that. I had dinner at Clive Davis' house before. I kid you not. I had the best tasting grapes in my life. I don't know where he got these grapes. I don't know where he got these grapes. They felt like they were picked from the finest vineyard in the mountain in Italy, swam through the waters, and then delivered in an ice bed, covered in a blanket of, I don't know, leaves and crushed by the finest hands of the Malaysian. I don't know. Like, it was something. I don't know. But you're absolutely correct.
That's hilarious.
I got jokes.
You have to. So if you don't put that work in, you're not going.
And the quality of the food, since we're going to take it back to y'all know me, I always got to bring it back home. I gotta bring it back home. It gotta be in your health, man. I mean, after this episode, I know I'm a little crazy, a little quirky, but y'all gotta admit, we onto something here. It's all about health. And if you love hip hop, even if you have a hip hop background, because again, that's where I began my journey. So I used to stay at the radio station on air.
Yo,
but
when I say, like, we shouted, see, I don't know if you got to see the interview with Pilar, but we shouted you out. The point of it is to give you your flowers. So glad you're here. We got to get the flowers because you gave us so many opportunities. Like, so many people I met because of you. Like, and I have some of the dopest times in hip hop because of you and because of Pilar. Like, because of you, we got to sit in on that Music Soul Child session with Rodiga and Cayenne. Pilar allowed me to junior stylist, and I was able to help Jim Jones style Jim Jones.
Shout out to Chanel.
Yeah, so fire. So, man, it's a whole bunch of other opportunities. I got to meet Sean D. Ross. I got to meet Beyonce stylist Ty, which he's so dope. I learned so much about marketing. I learned so much about my business. So thank you. I forgot because that was the point to give you a flowers. So
for having me here, because to see what this has become over the years is like an honor. Like, I love seeing people walking into their calling, and however, I mean, it's so on brand. I even came matching the pillow. Yeah. Come on, this is meant to be.
Yes.
This was not planned, y'all.
Yes.
I just got it like that. That's because we're vegan. That's because of the health. Look at that.
Absolutely.
The flowers because she's, you know what I'm saying? She took over the show for the day.
Boom, 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 boom. And I'm crazy.
So we appreciate you. Yes, thank you.
Seriously, learned a lot. Stuff that I still use today. Like I told you the other day. I don't mean to spit bars, but I'm just gonna say how it is. But yeah, like all the time, I still use the gems that you deliver and that you help out with. So it's like I'm just appreciative that you was even, loving to just share the gems, because you understand, the vision and everything, and it helped a whole lot.
I've seen you get a lot of opportunities to people, so I just want to let you know that we see it and keep going, girl.
I appreciate that, because what I've personally realized is, like, while I'm putting in all this healing work and I have the tools, like, it's not saying I don't go through depression, because I battled with severe depression my entire life, but now I have, like, the tools. Like, when I'm in that state, okay, I need to go take a walk. Oh, I need to do this. I have the tools to do that. And what I've realized is, while I found this infinite happiness in the alchemy that I've created for myself, it does not matter if my people aren't okay. Because at the end of the day, if my people aren't okay, even though I have the tools, when they go through depression, they may take it out on me. If they don't have the tools. Or so it's like, and even when I see someone's working towards it, it's like, I want to pour into them. And when I say by people, I mean Black people. Obviously, I'm really passionate about that, right? And it's just like, we're not okay if we're not all okay.
It's a collective thing.
It's a collective thing. So when you get a form of wealth, whether it be the way your dad taught you, or you know the way that your aunts and the other chess sports taught you, you share that, and you share that from your unique perspective because no one else can do that. And so to hear that, like the little things while I was figuring out my big mess of a life, help someone else, that does mean a lot to me, because that's what it's about. I just want to make sure everyone is healthy.
Yes, yes.
Do you see what we did there? Okay, we got to go to the manifesting because the energy is good. It's popping off. It's the energy popping. So now, in closing, as I match the pillow, I'm going to hold the logo so we have it double here. This is called branding, honey. This is branding.
Yes.
So we're going to ask, as we manifest, we're going to rub the pillow 3 times for some good luck. So I want you guys to let me know what is happening next. But as you let me know what you guys see happening next, say, I am manifesting, and then say it because that's just the way the universe works.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let me ask the formal question. So, Tori, what's happening next?
All right, I gotta breathe. Okay, so I'm manifesting that this show is the place for artists, hip hop artists, creatives, and busy people. If you're achieving a goal, if you're elevating, if you want more out of life, we want this show, or I want this show to be the place to come to learn how to elevate within yourself, but maintain that peace of mind by taking care of your health. And so our point is to motivate. It's to help y'all remain healthy. It's to help you control your mental space, your physical space, and your spiritual space. And we want to have just a bunch of guests here to give y'all the tools to learn how to get that information in, as far as what you're taking in, as far as what you're learning, what you're going through, as far as the experience you're taking in, and you're taking care of that and putting that energy back into you the proper way, versus us rushing or trying to only have successful moments because we're in pain.
Right.
We're rushing, not sleeping.
We're competing with one another.
We're competing with each other. We're not taking time to actually dive into what's hurt us in the past. We're just going as Black people. And us other races too. We all have our reasonings of why we're doing things we're doing. And so for this show, I wanted to be the hub of, look, if you're a hip-hop artist and you're trying to get on, if you're a hip-hop artist and you're established, but you're not at peace of mind, let me turn into one of the episodes and learn how to get my diet right from the episodes that we have. Let me learn how to control my privacy parts because my addiction is women or my addiction is men. Let me learn
Sacral chakra energy.
All of those different things. We want you to come to this show and get this information because we truly care. It's for free. We want y'all to trust us with this information and be able to really, really use it because these are the tools that help us transition into who we are. And then we want to bring guests who we admire and who we see doing those things and have their own stories that maybe you could connect with. So that is what I just wanted y'all to connect to us and use this information to grow and use this information to teach other people. So that is what I see health and hip hop doing. I just wanted to really help people get themselves to the next level without it damaging y'all. Not selling y'all something that is just for the aspect of covering up anything. Like, no, we really want you to dig in deep, take this information, use what you can, scrap what you don't agree with, and become the best version of you. So that's what I want.
I love that. And Rel, what are you manifesting?
That's all you manifesting?
It's more than that, but we're going to leave it at that for right now. Yeah, for me, just towards the show.
So I'm manifesting that while y'all are learning all of these keys, these gems, these jewels, the jewelry, that you're constantly applying them as well. Because faith without works is dead. Mm-hmm. So you got to be able to take the information, allow it to match up to something that you've gone through, and then be able to walk with it because we all got to pay it forward. So just like Madison was stating that we are a collective. So if in one person or one group of people, a little bit of us is winning, then, we still got some work to do because we need to get it and we need to gather it around because there's more strength in numbers and we're more, powerful.
And it's enough for all of us.
United.
Absolutely.
So we have to continue to make sure, and I would love to see that, we have different, things that's coming from this, none other than, the stuff that we've shared. Because we gain inspiration off of what other people do as well. So, like, if we hear somebody that say they started their own show, from watching this show,
I gotta talk about that too.
we are loved to see stuff like that because it's all from that spirit. So, continue on, keep shining. That's what I love to see. I got a project that's dropping. My instrumental
it's already
album
dropped,
that's
kind of
coming.
pretty much. You might as well say whenever
you know,
this episode drops, so it's already dropped, right? What it's on, where they can get it from.
It's on Apple Music, it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on Tidal. It's called Dark Stars. Dark Times Built Stars. So just always just thinking of the times that you go through that you think is dark is going to actually allow that light in you to be a little bit brighter. So when you have a seed, it goes in some darkness because that dirt, that soil is dark. So that seed, we eat bananas or whatever crops and fruit we eat, it start off from that seed for the majority. If it's coming out the ground, you put that water on it, then it's able to, sprout up, and then you're able to get that marvelous light. So I've been through times that it wasn't, favorable for me in a natural sense. It was a little dark, but it allowed my light to keep shining. You know what I'm saying? So the good and the bad, it always work out for me. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid of, the tests. The trials, they going to come. You know what I'm saying? But you count it as joy because it's going to produce a maturity of faith in you. So I got that's coming out. I got a book that's coming out. And I already have the title. But I got the inspiration from Tori. Just sharing everything. Oh, you should write a book.
Oh yeah.
Word. And I'm gonna write this book. So I already started. I have the chapters already outlined. I have the introduction already outlined. I have the name of the book. I already started writing one chapter. So it's all because it's all health and hip hop. The health is us, spirit. The hip hop is the spirit as well because it's that energy. So I always want to make sure that I'm feeding the community. Like I see hip hop mogul Dame Dash. Just will come with different things, whether it be music. He always had his hand in something, that was promoting hip-hop, and him being an older guy now, one of the OGs, he had his own book, he got his own streaming service, his own network. So just seeing stuff like that, that's furthering the hip-hop community because it's building that generational wealth. You don't have to, try to rely on someone else doing. You could put yourself in a position where not only is it helping you, it's helping the generations to come. So any of his children, when he transitions, take it further. They got things, that he put in place already to be able to make sure that everything keep going. So I just, I manifest that as y'all are watching. Y'all continue to keep elevating and be your individual self because we all are unique. But when we come together, it builds that bigger picture. So you're unique too.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that so much.
I did want to share something. I wanted to share one more thing about actually what has happened since we've released a few episodes.
Okay.
So our first episode, man, so many people had hit us up and said that they learned so many gems. Shout out to Docs. So many gems. One of the gems he shared was how to listen to God, how to hear God better in ways, and actually showed us different ways. But also we did the second episode was with Sheena, who her episode was pretty much really just geared towards how to maintain yourself while you build. And basically, her episode, she told me that because she owns Blueberry Cafe, she owns 3 vegan restaurants, well 4 now, and in Newark, right in the heart of Newark. And she said that after her episode, a child came who had autism and caught a wind of the show and actually, asked to have his show, or his mom, or I don't know the gist of it, but there was a kid that had autism and he ended up starting a cooking show, and they filmed it at her restaurant because he saw her interview. There was also another teenager, young man that came into her restaurant and said he saw the interview and that he wanted to change his eating. And another woman, she said, had watched the episodes, and she ended up in the hospital or passed out or something happened to her. And she said that in the hospital, all she could think of was just, she got to get right, thinking of the tips, the tools from the show. And she came in to see her. And she said it was just a number of different text messages of how the episodes have been helping. And the same thing I've been receiving. People have been saying, like, man, they just been taking that information and it's changed their lives tremendously already. And we're just getting started. We're not even where we actually really, we are where we want it to be because we preach to have peace of mind while you're grinding.
Exactly where you're supposed to be. I'm not going to let you diminish.
No, that's why we're not.
excellence.
That's why we're not. That's why I quote what I said. I'm saying that to say, like, we are taking our time with it, but it's not usual. The way we really only move off of when God tells us to move, we already established learning how to do that. And so when people will even be like, well, why don't y'all drop one every 2 weeks? We like, every week. We drop an episode every 2 weeks at this point in time, but why don't you drop one every week? We know we could drop one every week, but it's the work ethic that we don't have the team, because that's not what we're focusing on. We have literally so many different things we're doing, and so it is achievable to drop very strategic shows and great strong shows the way we're doing it. And when it's time to drop it crazy, it will be.
You know what's insane? I literally made a tweet about this morning, and it's about, like, we live in this society from a marketing standpoint, right? We live in a society where we've become content machines.
Absolutely.
And especially, like, as a journalist, right? So with my podcast, I've reached so many people worldwide at this point, and I realized I don't want to drop. I'm dropping an episode probably every month. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm not a content machine. This isn't just for your algorithm.
Absolutely.
This is a quality substance, and it's going to take a month for me to physically break down the nectar of the essence. There's so much in that one episode where I don't have to drop another podcast episode for at least 2 months.
Yes, absolutely.
But if you give that 1 month to the show, you can break down 30 minutes, like break it down so people really get the message, other than rush content. Like, if you want an impact,
absolutely,
you want that to sustain.
Absolutely.
You want, like, I like that. That's a good strategy. Absolutely. Like, once a month is not a bad, like with my podcast, that's what I do. Once a month, and you really give people a chance to understand the message versus just doing something for an algorithm to grow followers. Who that is, followers or engagement or whatever it is. Like, are you doing it for vanity metrics or are you doing it for the message?
Absolutely. And also too, like I said, when it comes to promoting things that are you have to have a balance, or you will lose yourself.
You will.
And people think that, because you do things for a large amount of money, it could be selling your soul. But you can sell your soul by not listening to your soul for whatever you're saying. If your soul wants to rest and you're skipping rest for money, you're selling your soul. Whether it's for $25 an hour, whether you're selling it for $1 million contract, if you're not listening to your spirit and you know you're not listening, you're selling your soul. And so for us, it's no need for that. The reason is because we're rushing. You want stuff now, and that's never how it works. Nature-wise, anything valuable takes time to bloom. You need trees to breathe. You know how long it takes a tree to manifest into an adult?
Hello. It is okay to... the way that I teach my students is to run the podcast like an album. Like, it's taken me 2 years. Like, I have a set, like last year I took a break from the spiritual ideologies, the futuristic spiritual ideologies of Nyla, right? But I just did spiritual interviews, and I'm like, okay, I can interview these people, they can give their stories, that's fine. But these futuristic concepts, these take a lot of studying, a lot of research. I have to go to different land masses to gain energy and access. Absolutely. And so really just looking at it, put it out like your podcast, you don't have to drop 1,000 episodes. Like, I'm in season 3, and it's because I'm running it like an album. Like, this is the purple print. The one before this was purple season of the Madison J Show, season 1, season 2, season 3. So you can run it like that. Every artist doesn't just drop an album. They usually drop an album every 2 years. It's okay to intentionally put out 7 episodes in 1 month, or 12 episodes, and then every month is a different episode, and you hold in on that concept. Like, I just put out the spirituality of traveling. Next month is going to be the spirituality of sexuality.
Wow.
That shit going to be crazy. Excuse my French.
I definitely want to
because it's so... you already on the show. We already know that. So...
I'm there.
But I mean, like, with that, it's okay to look at it as art versus analytics.
Facts.
It's okay. It's okay to let your art breathe. So don't. I want you to take that in. That's actually, I feel like a lot of people are about to start moving that way. And we said it here first. So remember, we said that.
That's the thing, they are. And this is why the pillar is now. I already know we ahead, because in a sense, when I don't know if you know, but I don't even know if I actually shared this here. I share it on my lives a lot, but the show, we wrote this out a long time ago. It wasn't until a week I got up, and it was a feeling that I got every time I woke up. It's time to shoot Health and Hip Hop. And I'm like, God, really right now? Like, I'm all overweight. I'm not even in the shape. So when y'all see this episode compared to other ones, I'm a totally different size. But I'm like, it's not about that. It just is what it is. But I was just like, dang, we only move. And from what I've learned is a lot of the things when it comes to being organic is, and you're doing things for the art of it, a lot of it is not going to be on other people's time. That's why a lot of the greatest people are not even recognized until they pass, because a lot of the times they're operating off of a spirit, off of particularly what is meant in their past. It's not for them. So like you said, we are going to move into that as a people, because there's a lot of things going on with social media and actually taking care of yourself now. People are getting more aware of it. And so that's why we want to be the hub. We want to be the hub for, look, man, I want to get to my goals, but I want to get there with peace of mind. I want to get there really wealthy.
What is success without peace? What is success without love? Absolutely. What is success without happiness?
Absolutely.
If you get there with depression,
if you get there at war, and that's why you can't even enjoy it. Or either what's happening is you're aiming at success, but the war, and you need other things to latch on. So now you need drugs, and now you need bad foods, and it's like you don't have the energy to give up these things, because what you're rushing towards is pulling so much that you actually need drugs to fill you now. Because you've lost so much in chasing the algorithm, or not having that faith as to really trusting you. You will stay somewhere that you don't like, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a job that you don't like, and no, it's not treating you right, but you're still there. You have to assess what that is. And a lot of times we don't. We just think we need more and more and more.
Right.
And eventually when you hit that wall, because you're going to hit it, it's just, sometimes it's good to hit it, because that's what slows you down and when you lose everything, it lets you rebuild. But before you get to that process, you can come here. If you at that process, you need to come here because we're trying to give y'all the tools to be able to manage yourself. So,
and get to know you. You're unique. You don't have to watch other people on social media and do what's working for them. That's a big thing too. You know, you are a unique person, and you don't have to sacrifice for me personally, spirituality just hit. I've been this way since 2014.
Absolutely.
And now people are coming to me like, Madison, especially since the pandemic, and people are like, you don't have to like me.
That really woke up a lot of people.
You don't have to like me. You don't have to love me, but you respect my work, and you know I'm about this life. And it's because I was staying true to my organic self before it was a trend. And my organic self helped make the trend on a global scale. So I say that to say, stay true to who you are, even if it doesn't make sense to everyone else, because God gives you a vision for a reason. He doesn't give you a vision to be someone else. He doesn't give you a vision to try to fix an algorithm. He gave you a vision to be you. Spirituality just got trendy.
Absolutely.
This wasn't trendy. Tori knows, I got hit with a lot of crazy comments online, like even before this show, and I'm still healing some stuff, because I'm like, make sure I don't look fat, make sure I don't. So there's things that I'm still healing from the nectar of pulling this mainstream. But the thing is, God gives vision to all of us if we stay obedient to the assignment. And it's not like everyone else's. So don't worry about what other people are doing. Worry about sustaining your soul and the purity and integrity of your soul and your work and your community.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And one more thing to piggyback on that is what you said, stay true to yourself. Either way, you only can deal with yourself. So either you want to deal with fake parts of you and you just going to keep going back and forth with yourself, or you can get rid of the things you're going back and forth and deal with it and move on so you could be able to elevate. But whether you are staying true to yourself or not, you still got to deal with you. So either you're going to be the one dealing with the fake you or not. But when you understand you can't keep people around, you can't keep good relationships, you can't keep up with the persona until you actually deal with you and you are operating off the true version of yourself. Because if not, then how can that be? Absolutely. And it's not sustainable at all.
And then you won't even see your blessings. Like, I look back, one thing, you won't even see it. And I think when you lose someone that's really close to you, right, it makes you look at life differently.
Absolutely.
I value everything. Like, if I wake up in that first air, even if I feel, because you can feel when depression's coming on, even when I can feel depression, I say, Lord, I am grateful. You know, and then I'll get out of bed. First thing I'll do is I take my morning walks. I have to take an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. That's one of my rituals. But it's so about
key for longevity,
and it's also good for the crown chakra because it helps with anxiety, depression. It helps maintain that. It helps.
Walking is important.
Walking, and it's something so simple. I think walking and also drinking water. Absolutely. People underestimate those two healing components, and like our body is mostly water, and walking is air
and vegetables.
like they're so simple.
Water. Yep.
Best.
Water. So it's like just having those just having your key elements and just staying embedded in that gratitude as well. Like those things really do help. And one of the things that I'm grateful for is to witness how far you guys have come. Because it's been a journey. So I want to say my manifestation piece over y'all. I am manifesting big guests, huge guests, whoever's popping into your mind. As I say that, that's who I'm manifesting within a year. You are worthy, you are capable, you are love, you are divine. And I'll say that in first person tense too, because I am are the most powerful words in the universe. I am worthy, I am capable, I am unique, I am divine. We are a collective, and I manifest greatness over you. I manifest wealth over you. I manifest success over you. I manifest love over you. I manifest favor. I manifest protection. That's important. And I'm just so proud of the two of you, and I'm just so honored to be the first person to take over this show, and ain't nobody gonna do it better. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Health and Hip Hop. Subscribe. You never know. Maybe Crazy Maddie will be back if I'm not out there in the world somewhere.
Yes. But I'm like, let's get Madison. Come on, we gotta get it. So thank you for having us.
Thank you for having
us. Thank you for having us. That sounds so weird.
Right.
I'm like, thank you for having us. Because usually people say that to us.
Right. And this is Madison J with Tori and Rel on Health is Hip Hop, and we are checking out.